Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
All right. It's been a little bit since I've done a debrief. I think I've had Aaron on before we've done these, but I thought that it was maybe time to just go through some stuff that I found that I thought was interesting, and we'll see what you think. So this first one here, let's see. This thing is cool. This is a cool story, and outside of it just being kind of cool, I'm not sure. There's a ton of lessons we can pull from it, but let's see what we've got. Let me move some stuff around here. All right. So this is the story of Sasaki Kuchiro versus Miyamoto Musashi. This is cool. Came across this post and made me think about it. It took place. Well, first of all, this is potentially not real. I mean, as with all things like historical like that, but Musashi was a real person, and let's start there. In that, if you're familiar with him, he's writer of the Book of Five Rings. It's a great samurai story. He's known for, I think it's like 60 something, however many duels that he went through, that he won fighting other samurai. And this is the book that he wrote after he retired. Right, he went into a cave, self-excluded meditation time, and wrote his book, the Book of Five Rings, Gorin no Sho. It's considered, a classic on military strategy, just like The Art of War is, but it's from one man who won all these duels. And this post in particular is about this story of his last duel. So this is, in theory, the last duel that he did. Then he, later went off to his cave to write his Gorin no Sho, the Book of Five Rings. So, you take it with a grain of salt. A lot of it's legend, maybe real, maybe not real, whatever. So 13th of April, 1612, island of Fukushima. Kojiro Musashi was Musashi's last duel. So, he wanted to end with his last. This is like supposedly his last duel. So he wanted to end with, no holds barred, knowing that he was the greatest swordsman of all time, right? So he went up against this other guy, Kojiro, who is also known as the greatest swordsman in Japan or whatever. So they set up this duel, and it set it up on this remote island. And what he does is he shows up like 3 hours late. And, samurai are known for being proud. So, he showed up 3 hours late, and Kojiro and his people that were there with him were super irate, angry, full of rage. And one of the lines is that, Kojiro pulls his sword out, throws his scabbard aside, and Musashi, further taunting him, says, well, if you have no more use for your sheath, well, then I guess you're already dead. Meaning that, he doesn't need it anymore because he's not going to be putting up his sword. So the only reason you wouldn't be putting up your sword is because I've killed you. So there's this, there's this famous statue here, but the duel begins. Both men on guard is shown in the statue here. And another legend is that Musashi stands with his back to the setting sun, which also blinds Kojiro. On the way there, Musashi gets a boat ride to the island because everyone else is already there and he's late. So he gets this boat ride to the island. And on the way there, he takes this oar or a piece of wood or whatever, and he whittles out a bokken, which is a wooden version of a sword. And from what I understand, he makes it slightly longer than what he knows Kojiro's sword to be lengthwise. And Musashi provoking him Kojiro into making the first attack. And there's a couple of different things there. Kojiro has a well-known type of attack that Musashi had studied, and Musashi knew how to beat that, and with his slightly longer bokken, beat him and broke his skull. And there's another account where he does something and breaks one of his ribs or punctures his rib or something. Anyway, there's still a lot of debate about this last final fight, but I think some of the lessons, could be found in that, you don't want to let your pride get the best of you, and that Musashi learned to use that, uses other person's pride as a weapon against him. He weaponized his opponent's pride. It's thought that at that point, Musashi had attained his spiritual awakening and renounced doing duels from then on, and went to write his Book of Five Rings. So, research that story. It's really cool. I'm going to put some notes here in the post for all of that, because I think it's worth it to try to learn from. I think it's pretty cool. Who doesn't like Musashi Book of Five Rings? Okay, so another one I found was this this post from a guy I follow, Jadi Tenshin. He runs a martial arts studio in New York, I believe. He's a world famous point fighter or fighter in karate, and he had this to say, and I'm going to try to play it here so you can listen. But it's sort of echoing a lot of my thoughts right now, and I'll get into that. Let's try to play this so you can hear it.
I'm sure that this could be used for any kind of activity, just when dealing with people. But I'm gonna say this. So when my daughter was in daycare, right? And we always in daycare. She was a lot younger. When I was leaving that daycare, because she aged out when we was going to school, I went back to the daycare. I'm sure that this could be used for any kind of activity, just when dealing with people. But I'm gonna say this. So when my daughter was in daycare, right? And we always in daycare. She was a lot younger. When I was leaving that daycare, because she aged out when we was going to school, I went back to the daycare provider, and I let her know how much I appreciated her. Even when I was in there, I let her know how much I appreciated her. And what's important is that your children will learn many lessons from you. And one of the lessons that we can give our children is how to appreciate the people who have invested time and energy into them. One of the worst things that can happen as a school owner or any coach or any teacher or whatever is that when you decide, the family decides that whether you're moving to another town, you're growing up, you want to do other things, whatever the case may be, the least that you could do, the appropriate, in my opinion only, the appropriate thing that you could do is have that child come to that instructor and say, thank you for your time. I'm going to do other things, whatever it may be. Don't send a text message. You are teaching your child the easy way out, and you're not even teaching your child, and you haven't even learned a lesson how to just to end a relationship properly. I appreciate your time. Thank you for what you have done for my children.
Right. So he goes on a little bit more, but I think you get the point there. I wrote an article myself a while back, 2019. And it's something that I really don't understand. We'll see it a lot in the gym space, in the gym I run. I teach martial arts as well in those classes and stuff, that people will just disappear. And it's like Mr. Tension says, if anyone has invested in you with their time and energy, it is polite. It is probably morally right for you to show your appreciation for their time, the time that they've spent, because time is probably the most valuable commodity that anyone has. It's such a important thing. Now on the other side, we don't have, as a coach, as an instructor, as a sensei, we don't have an expectation of you to necessarily do anything, go out of your way. And all I'm talking about is like a simple thank you. I mean, he says not text it. You can say it in person. You can send an email. You can text. You can send a letter. Just a little bit of appreciation of like, hey, you spent time making me better. And I appreciate it. And that's it. The contract between you and your coach or you and your sensei is that you will put in the effort, that you will be there, you'll be consistent, just like they are. I wrote this article, or this post, or whatever you want to call it, apparently January 2019. And it was called Never Quit from a Coach's Perspective. I'll link it up. You can go read it. But here's some of the basics and why I'm saying what I'm saying. If I coach you, I will give you everything I have to help you reach your goals. So as a client, you need to understand that the thing I'm bringing to the table, honestly, is that I'm going to give you a small piece of myself. I'm literally going to give you part of my soul. And you have to have some kind of internal motivation that's going to make you do whatever work is necessary for you to get to your goals. Right? You see, it's like a symbiotic relationship. With you achieving your goal helps me achieve my goal. And I achieve my goal through service to you. I don't, and it's hurtful when you just disappear. The ghosting. I've had people ghost a lot, and I think it's because they don't want to face the actual stepping down or the quitting or whatever that might be. Or me, maybe they don't want to face letting someone down. I don't know, but lots of things happen in life. You start something, your job can get in the way, your family can change. Your job can change, you can lose your job. There's lots of things that can happen. They're all acceptable. Okay? They're all acceptable. Whatever it is, communicate it. That's really it. That's really it. Like Mr. Tension says, you just an appreciation. Hey, thanks for your time. Because you could have been doing anything else. So thank you for that time. It doesn't take much. And I will tell you personally, when I've received that type of feedback from someone, hey, thanks for that. It completes the circle, sometimes that's worth more than money. So my article that I'm linking up here is more about the fact that your coach or your sensei or whatever is going to really hate seeing you give up on whatever that thing was that you previously really wanted to do. But honestly, it with his post, it made me realize that it really does come down to a small level of acknowledgement. And that's really it. That's the contract. It's just acknowledging that person who's helping you get there. Even if you don't get there, just acknowledge it. Don't just disappear. That is hurtful. And and I don't want to be like a woe is me. This is not the point of this. The point is just to if you happen to listen to this and you happen to have someone who's a mentor or someone who's looking out for you, remember that they're there for you. There you go. I hope that helps in that scenario. That's probably a good place to stop this one. Those 2 quick ones. I wanted to keep this short and see how it goes, by posting it. Let's go from there. I've got a couple more, so we'll see where this goes. Once again, thank you for listening. Tune in again. I'm going to drop some more of these, and we've got some pretty cool guests lined up as we close out the new year. And I really want to try to deliver for you guys that listen. Thanks.